searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, because eyes so bright.
Welcome back to Scheananigans, everyone. I am sitting solo in the studio today, fresh off a London trip. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And I'm here doing my new Monday regular, drop off the kid at school, grab a coffee, and get into some shenanigans. So I feel like I'm getting this new routine down. I know Brock absolutely loves having a schedule, and we already keep summer on a schedule, but now having this type of schedule, it's pretty good. I don't hate it, but keeps me busy, but it also keeps me just like on top of things. So I know Mondays, drop off, podcast, Tuesday, swim lesson, Wednesdays, dance, Thursday, Friday, school, rinse and repeat, maybe go away for the weekend. But I know you all wrote in so many questions, so many of the same questions. And we're going to get into all of them because I think today I have the time. Kids in school for like 4.5 hours. This podcast is not going to go that long, don't worry. But Remy Martin XOX wants to know more about my London trip. So I had some meetings out there. I had a podcast that I wanted to do in person. As you guys know, I try to always do any podcast in person, whether I'm a guest or the host. And GK Barry, who was on Scheananigans a couple months ago, was like, if you're ever in the UK, if you're ever in London, hit me up, come on my podcast. And I'm so glad I did. Her set was the absolute cutest. For those of you watching, I'm going to pop up a video so you could see this set. It was so fun. She's absolutely hilarious. So I was just happy that London brought me there and I was able to do this podcast in person because there's just something obviously so much more personal about in person, when you're doing it over Zoom and then the audio cuts out and it just doesn't sound as conversational. So did that. I saw some family who I haven't seen since before the pandemic. My cousin is engaged right now. I got to meet his fiance. My friend Jenny, who also has a toddler, she lives in Chicago. She came out to just get some girl mom away time with me. I was supposed to go to Chicago for some work in a couple weeks, and I was going to turn that into a Lollapalooza weekend with her. But that isn't happening after all. So she was like, well, where else can we go? I was looking forward to a weekend with you. And I was like, you know what? I have some work and meetings in London. You're not going to be able to come with me to every single thing I have. But if you want to come on the trip, and she did. So it was so much fun. We also had a couple girlfriends in town who invited us to a concert with Dr. Dre and Snoop. And I just thought it was going to be Dr. Dre and Snoop. Oh, surprise guest, Marshall freaking Mathers, Eminem, comes out, does like 3 songs. My mind was blown. This is someone who, all 3 of them, iconic, legends. Like since their first song came out, I have been a fan of. But I've never seen Eminem live. And he was top of my bucket list of a performer to see live. The year that he was at Coachella, I was doing the show in Vegas. And I remember I almost called off that day and was going to have my understudy do the show so my friend Mikey and I could drive to Coachella just to see Eminem. And that same weekend, his girlfriend had gotten voted off the challenge, and she came home that weekend and she was all sad and whatnot. And we only had 2 tickets, and we're just like, I'm like, no, I need to prioritize work, not Eminem, not call off my show. You go be there for your girlfriend. And we didn't end up going, and I've not had the opportunity to see him again. So the fact that I'm in London, this concert's happening with Dre and Snoop, and then Eminem is the surprise guest. I mean, it was iconic. It was so much fun. These guys are so freaking good live. Snoop threw a blunt out into the crowd. I mean, it was just the icing on the cake, the cherry on top to what was already a great trip with my girlfriends, my family, and just getting work done. And I got to go to a really fun concert. So that was amazing. And let's see, what else? London Mussies. Joy04 wants to know because she's going in October. So the first day I got there, I saw my family. My friend Jenny, she had the flight from hell. She's at the airport in Chicago and finds out her flight's about an hour delayed. And I was like, oh my God, perfect. Because I was getting in an hour later than her and she was waiting for me at the airport. So then it turns into 2 hours delayed. Then it turns into, actually, your flight's canceled. We're going to reschedule it for like 20 hours from now. So she was able to get on a morning flight. Long story short, I end up in London by myself for the whole day. So I call my cousin. I meet up with him. But here's the thing, where I was staying, we're at the London Hilton Park Lane, Knightsbridge, gorgeous area. And it was the most amazing weather I've ever seen in London. Anytime I've been there before has been like February or March. It's always gloomy. It's cold. I brought the sunshine from LA. It was beautiful. I didn't want to spend time in a car. So I'm looking out my window and I have a view of Big Ben, the London Eye, Hyde Park. It's gorgeous day out. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of like when you're in Vegas and you see the hotel at the end of the strip and you're like, it's not that far. I could walk. But it's actually like a mirage, which I've done in Vegas before. It's a lot further than you think when you're trying to get from Treasure Island to Mandalay Bay. Just take my word for that. But in London, I was like, you know what? Big Ben and the Eye don't look that far. I think I could walk. Looked it up on the maps and it said it was only a 33-minute walk. So I was like, oh, done. So I walk around Buckingham Palace. Many of you might have seen my Instagram rant that I did because as I'm sightseeing, I learn about this Tom Sandoval lawsuit, which I'm going to get into today. And I walk through Hyde Park. I see all of the guards and the horses. They had this parade going on. It was just so much fun. I FaceTimed Summer from Big Ben. She has this, it's a small world book where she sees Big Ben and the London Eye and all of these things across the world. But she was really excited for me to be there with Big Ben. So I FaceTimed her. Did a boat cruise. It was such a great trip. But while I was walking around and doing some sightseeing, I got some texts about this Tom Sandoval lawsuit. And lots of thoughts on that. But I'm going to save that for after the break because people are wondering, where am I off to next? And on the go, busy. I'm going to Orlando later this week. Brock is going to come with me. I am accepting an award. It's the Illumination Award from the International OCD Foundation. And I have to write like a 3 to 5 minute acceptance speech, which I've never actually done an acceptance speech in my life other than on Zoom with Ariana and Katie for our MTV award because the awards were canceled with the writer's strike last year. So I've never actually gone up and accepted an award. I've presented an award with a teleprompter, but I'm kind of nervous. This is a speech I know I'm not going to be able to get through without totally breaking down in tears because it's something that obviously hits so close to home. And it's just so nice to be recognized by the foundation just for how outspoken I've been with mental health, maternal mental health, postpartum OCD, and all of the things. And we're going to do a podcast soon around all of that. Nia is going to co-host and just working out that schedule, with the Valley back in production. But I think it's something that needs to be talked about more. And I'm very honored to be accepting this award. So we're just going to do a quick 2-day trip. We're like, look, if we're going to Orlando, we're bringing Summer, we're going to do Disney World, do all the things. Then we started talking to people in Florida right now, just saying how hot and humid it is. And it's maybe not the best time to go to a theme park with your toddler. So Brock and I are just going to do a very quick, less than 48-hour trip, the two of us. But that'll be fun because I had my girls' trip to London. He didn't come with me. So always nice to, get a hotel, reconnect, and I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on Mr. Sandoval. Be right back. All right, y'all. If you're a new parent, a bad day means you either ran out of coffee, diapers, patience, or D, all of the above. Stocking up on cold brew and deep breaths are all you, but at least HelloBello's got your baby's butt covered. HelloBello believes all families deserve premium, affordable baby products. And this is something I recently set up for my co-host Janet, because now that my baby is out of diapers and hers isn't, I'm like, girl, I got the thing for you. With their ultra convenient diaper bundle subscription service that includes 7 packs of diapers and 4 packs of plant-based wipes, you'll never run out of supplies. And better yet, they're delivered to your door. Set, change, and cancel your delivery service whenever you want. So I set this up for Janet a few weeks ago, and I just want to do anything that can alleviate any stress from my mom friends, especially my mom friends who also I like to co-host this podcast with me. I'm like, don't worry about having to go to the store to get diapers. You don't have to order them online. They will just get delivered to your door. It's a subscription service you never even have to think about. You can only access and start a HelloBello diaper subscription on HelloBello.com, I want to point out. And HelloBello diapers are made in the US. It's the first privately held diaper company to do so. They give you both cloud-like softness and absorbency, which we know is very important. Go to HelloBello.com/honey to get 30% off your first customized bundle and a full-size freebie product of your choice. That's HelloBello.com/honey to start bundling with 30% off your first order. Don't forget, that's HelloBello.com/honey. The Serpent Queen is back and badder than ever. Samantha Morton returns as Catherine de' Medici, the newly anointed Queen Regent of France, now that her son Charles IX has come of age. Season 2 finds the court engulfed in chaos as the Guises and Bourbons vie for control, and the rise of Protestantism sparks tension across the country. As France falls into political and religious turmoil, Catherine struggles to maintain her power, which makes her more determined than ever to keep it. Get ready for some drama, period. If season 1 of The Serpent Queen taught us anything about the regal and ruthless Catherine de' Medici, it's that she'll do whatever it takes to hold on to power. And with the French court in chaos and her country torn apart by the rise of a new religious sect, her shrewd intellect and savvy will be tested like never before. With her son now King of France, season 2 finds Catherine fighting for her family's future as her political adversaries, the Guises, commit unholy acts, and the Bourbons turn to a familiar ally for personal gain, Queen Elizabeth I of England. Rife with sharp wit and dark humor, The Serpent Queen is back and badder than ever. It feels good to be bad. And let me mention, this is all based on true events. It's the true story about one of the most influential women in history. Powerful performances, surprising twists and turns, women navigating positions of power and political power dynamics. This is a show you do not want to miss. Watch The Serpent Queen now, only on STARZ and the STARZ app. All right, we're back. Wait, side note, before I get into Sandoval, I don't know if any of you are watching the Simone Biles documentary on Netflix right now, but it's incredible. It just popped in my head as I was thinking about how much I've always been a perfectionist, and I try on these solo episodes to make sure I'm not taking too many breaths and to just keep talking and to try and just like stay perfect. And it just popped in my head. If you haven't watched it, it's really freaking good. And I'm so excited for the Olympics. They're going to be good as gold. Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay. So I know you all want to know. And for those of you who missed my Instagram rant, now that Tom Sandoval has dropped his lawsuit against Ariana, is everything back to good between the two of you? Okay. Here's the thing. And I want to clear this up because Tom Sandoval and I have not been good for the last year and a half. It's like when I learned he was having suicidal thoughts, I let my guard down. I gave him some grace. You know, I showed compassion to someone who had been a good friend of mine for 15 years. And I tried to put anything else aside because I thought he was suicidal and I didn't want to see him end up dead. So also, you know, we're filming together. If I'm going to be around him, I wanted work to be, I don't know, cordial, be able to coexist. And now, God, with this lawsuit, it's like, I'm glad he has now done the right thing and dropped it. But what he did was, I mean, it was so just out of public pressure, This lawsuit comes out, everyone reacts. It's not I don't know what reaction he was thinking, but apparently it's probably not the reaction he was hoping for. I don't get it. And what was missing in his Instagram post was accountability. Still missing the accountability. There's always a but. There's someone else to blame. It's like, Tom, you are now 42. I don't get it. It's long past time to take responsibility. You can't just blame your lawyer and say you didn't know what was going on. I mean, you don't sue people accidentally. I'll say that. There's paperwork involved. There's so much involved. It's not just like, oh, you said I should do this, so I just signed and I did this, and oops, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, come on. You're not that dumb. But it's just, clearly you are. And, let's just say that's the case. I don't know. Your incompetence, once again has just brought a bag of shit to Ariana's doorstep. And as I said in my Instagram rant, you've done enough damage. Let's not do any more. And I got a lot of questions about Ariana in response to this, asking if I've spoken to her since Sandoval tried to sue her. And, I didn't. I reached out after I saw the Raquel lawsuit a few months ago, and the response I got, I felt like, maybe she doesn't want to talk about this. And I'm sure everyone's bombarding her with messages. So that's why I took to Instagram. I said my piece. I do not agree with any of this. I do not condone it. I think this just needs to be done. He needs to just let her live her life and freaking shine as bright as she is. She looks the best she has ever looked. I am living for all of these looks she's had on Love Island. Like, drop dead gorgeous. Talk about a bombshell. But just let her live her life, girl is booked and busy after Love Island. I know that just ended this weekend. She's back here for a few, check on the sandwich shop, and then boom, back off to Broadway, which, by the way, if you haven't been, now's your chance. I hope that I end up in New York again next month because I would love to see that again. It was incredible. And yeah, so many questions about Ariana, but I feel like if I say too much, then people are like, why are you always talking about Ariana? But then if I don't acknowledge it, it's like, why are you avoiding the question? So these are my thoughts. This is how I feel. I am absolutely supportive of everything she is doing right now. And I do not support Tom Sandoval's antics whatsoever. Anyway, kind of on the same page. Do you regret any of your choices from the end of the season and reunion? No regrets, but I wouldn't repeat my actions. I felt like in the moment, I was doing what felt best for me to be able to sleep at night, for me to give a little grace. I felt like that's what I needed to do. And here's one thing that was told to me this weekend by Dr. Dre's producer. He said that he is friends with 3 billionaires, and the one thing that they all have in common is they don't give a fuck. And I'm like, oh, God, what does that feel like? Maybe that's why I'm not a billionaire, because I care so much about what everyone else thinks. No, I'm kidding. But I do. And I feel like you guys know that. I can live in the comment section at times. I do always try to do the right thing. But last summer, I was also trying to do the right thing for me. And I was trying to just figure out how I could, navigate this show with these two people while staying loyal to Ariana. And I may not have always done it the right way. Sometimes I don't say things the right way. I don't do things the right way. But anyone who knows me knows I have the best intentions. I have a good heart, and I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be a perfectionist. I'm trying to do it always. And it doesn't always work out. Also, while I'm speaking on some of the words of advice I got from these legendary people in London, Snoop said 2 things to me backstage. We were all talking, and I was just like, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. So I'm going to leave these two things with you also. He said that people always like to say, you only live once. And he goes, but I'd like to say, you only die once, so you should live every day. And I was like, wow, that was like poetic. And then there was another thing he said when we were talking about he has 12 grandkids, talking about my daughter. And we're just like all in this chill conversation. And he said, you know, when it comes to your daughter, you have to let her learn so you can be a better teacher. And I'm telling you, I was at a birthday party with Summer yesterday. And my mom, love her. But we're trying to, you know, break the generational cycle with certain things. And you know what? If Summer wants to run outside without shoes on and she steps on something, she's going to learn. And then we can better teach. And there were like 3 times at the birthday party, I go, Mom, in the words of Snoop, you got to let her learn. She was getting so annoyed with me. But literally, I just had to share those 2 words of advice with you guys because I thought they were really just poetic and awesome. And yeah, so that's that. No regrets, but yeah, definitely not repeating. So yeah, wise words of advice from Dr. Dre's producer and Snoop Dogg. Epic. Anyway, back to your questions. Are you and Brittany still cool? Absolutely. And I just want to remind you guys, just because you don't see it on Instagram every day doesn't mean it's not happening. I literally spoke to Brittany on the phone my entire drive here. I ran into her at drop off and she had a meeting. She's like, I'll call you after my meeting. And then we caught up and I'm going to see her tonight at her bar. They're hosting Monday nights. They're doing a Bachelorette on right now, right? Bachelorette. I don't know. I'm not watching. But they're doing viewing parties there every week. And then they do karaoke. And the band likes to go on Mondays and do karaoke. I'm going to this event for Sutton. It's some fun fashion show with Janet and Lala. And I'm like, you know what? Let's stop by the bar after and see Britt. So yes, we are absolutely still cool. Our kids are in school together. As everyone knows, the Valley is back up in production. So they're very busy. But Sundays and Mondays is usually the off days. So Sundays and Mondays are usually the off days. So I'm like, ooh, Janet, Brittany, Monday, let's hang. So yeah, Monday, fun day coming up later tonight. And okay, so many more questions. Gonna take another quick little break, have some water, and I'll be right back. This episode of Scheananigans with Scheana is sponsored by Betterhelp. Betterhelp, I've been talking to you guys about for so long because I think therapy is so important for your mental health, for your relationships, for your family. I mean, there's so many benefits that comes with therapy. I feel like sometimes in our lives, far too often, we tend to compare our lives with others. It's like, does social media play a part in that? Totally. And what do you do when you get caught up wishing your life looked like someone else's? It is something that I have gotten stuck in so much just being on a reality show. It is easy to compare yourself, but I try to just remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy, and therapy can literally help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. I have benefited from therapy for the last 3.5, probably going on 4 years now. And I highly recommend it. You know, Brock's in therapy, I'm in therapy. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/goodasgold today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/goodasgold. And our next partner has truly made a positive impact on my first children in my life. And no, I'm not talking about Summer. I'm talking about Penny Lane and Salem, my first kids. My cats' old food they had, like if I would go out of town and someone would come over to watch them and feed them for me, and they would leave a little bit of the food out, it would smell. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to come home to my house smelling like cat food. I used to just dread that scent. And I think there's maybe a saying like happy cat, happy life or something like that. Well, anyways, cat food has been the same forever. It's time for my cat to move into the 21st century. So that's why you've got to try Smalls. It's time to make kibble a thing of the past. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients that you'd find in your fridge. And it's delivered straight to your door. And that's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. This was a company started back in 2017 by a couple of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. A few short years later, boom, they've served millions of meals to cats across the U.S. Now is the time to make the switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/goodasgold and use promo code goodasgold at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code goodasgold for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code goodasgold for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. So I was talking to Lala this morning after we dropped off the kids, and she was just saying how out of breath she is right now, and she has to go record her podcast. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here doing a solo, not pregnant. And I feel like I get winded. So I can't even imagine right now. Back when I was in my third trimester, I feel like I was just podcasting from home on Patreon. It was much easier, but good on her. Girl, she does it all. She really does. Okay, back to the questions. Stassi always says you guys aren't friends, but it really seems like you are, from Lexi Beltran. When did she say we're not friends? I know there was a podcast or an interview or something she did where they asked like, well, who are you friends with on the Valley or Vanderpump? And she wasn't like, oh, Scheana and I are best friends, because we're not like best friends, but I think we have found a common bond in our daughters over the last few years. And I respect her so much as a mother. I'm really happy that we've gotten to a place where we can enjoy each other's company. I'm so proud of her for what she has built in the last 4 years after not being a part of Vanderpump Rules anymore. She's got another book coming out in September, which I'm excited to read. I pre-ordered it the day she posted it. You can't have it all. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that can be a topic that some people may have an issue with, but I love it. And I think it's true. And I think it does help take the pressure off. It's like, you don't have to do it all. You can't have it all. But then people want to be like, no, you can have it all. Follow your dreams and whatnot. And yes, that's one way as well. But I like this message that she's putting out there to just take the pressure off. So yeah, we're good. We were just at Lala's baby shower together. We talked about getting the girls together again soon. But, everyone's very busy in their individual lives with their families. And we don't always get together. But when we do, we're great. So speaking of Lala, 5 years ago, did you see your friendship with Lala being where it is at now? Definitely not. I felt like there was a point in time where I didn't think we would ever be friends again. And if the show didn't come back for season 9, I don't know that friendship would have ever mended. I think that obviously season 9 or not, everything with her and Randall still would have blown up. I would have reached out then and been there for her, and who knows where that would have led. But I couldn't be happier with where our friendship is. I would have never imagined our moms were going to be best friends, that Easton and I would be as close as we are, and my sister. And it just is like an extension of our family now. We're raising these girls together. Brock is there for Ocean whenever she needs him. And we just have such an incredible bond that I'm hoping, there is a season 12 and you get to see more of that, because everyone is still caught up on how season 11 ended and me, walking over to Lala instead of Ariana. But I felt like in that moment, Ariana did have a shoulder to cry on. Literally, her earring got caught in Katie's hair or whatever. And I saw Lala there by herself, and I didn't want her to feel alone. I wanted her to know, that's when it's hard when they say, oh, if you're friends with everyone, you're a friend to no one. But I just wanted her to know I'm still here for you. And it was really difficult to navigate the end of last season. I'm hoping with some time passing that, we can get back to being the Spice Girls. It may be a long road to that, but that's always my goal. I always want everyone to get along. And reality TV, that's not always a reality, but I'll do my best. What made you want to be on VPR? I can tell you there were a lot of things that made me not want to be on it. But after I sat down with Alex Baskin and he told me this is going to be a show about people working in the service industry, trying to make it in the entertainment industry and follow our lives outside of that, that made me want to be on it because I'm like, oh, okay, so you're going to show the things I'm working on outside of the restaurant. And in the beginning they did. There was some time where they didn't. But now they are again. So I'm just really glad that I was convinced to be on the show because I can't imagine. I mean, who knows where my life would have been without it. I could have been, acting in movies and maybe not. Maybe I'd still be at STAR. No, I wouldn't be. But I'm very thankful for the opportunities this show has brought, the friendships it's brought, and just how much I've learned about myself. I feel like I've lost myself in some seasons. I feel like I've lost my confidence in some seasons. I've gained it back. I've learned boundaries. That's a big one I've taken away from this past year. And I just think that when you're able to do a reality show and look into the mirror and watch it back, you do get perspective. And it does, for most people, help you grow as a person. So hopefully, season 12, you're going to see more of that, but we don't really know what's happening with that right now, so stay tuned. Okay, on to some mom questions for all my moms out there. Kaylani_Agpalo wants to know, how did you tell Brock you were pregnant? I actually think this is on a vlog that I posted back in 2020. Because I remember I was in Palm Springs. I was with my friend Brett, and it was just the two of us out there. I think the gyms had just started opening back up for outdoor workouts in San Diego. And so Brock was in San Diego working. And I was actually in Palm Springs both times I found out I was pregnant, because they were kind of back to back. And I remember the first time, I'll tell you the story first. I realized I'm a couple days late. I had a psychic who was incredible, tarot card reader. Her name is Grace, Stella Maris Readings on Instagram. She's incredible. I had a reading with her and she told me I had a baby today if I wanted a baby today. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I froze my eggs. So I guess technically if I wanted to go make a baby today, whatever. But then I thought about it. You're a few days late. You weren't feeling well last week. And so I'm like, Brett, can you go buy me a pregnancy test? I didn't want someone to see me at CVS buying a pregnancy test. So he does. I'm on FaceTime with Brock. I set it up in my bathroom in Palm Springs. And I just open it and I go in my bathroom. And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just going to pee on the stick really quick. He's like, why are you being so casual about this? I'm like, dude, I've peed on probably 20 of these in my life. They've never been positive. This is just for me to get out of my head because the psychic said something to me and I'm like, you're crazy. No. So I pee on the stick. I set it out. I'm just FaceTiming him and I look down. I didn't have Botox at the time. We're in a pandemic. And he sees my face changing and he's like, what? And I'm like, no. Hold on. I'm reading the instructions. I'm like, Brett, tell me. And I'm like, oh my God. 2 lines, whatever it was, whether it was the lines. And I'm like, no. We got to go back. We got to get the digital one where it says pregnant or not pregnant. Because what if one of these lines, and anyway, we kind of started freaking out because I really did not think in that moment on a casual FaceTime that I was going to find out I was pregnant. So that's how I told him the first time. And then we all know what happened there. And then the second time was kind of similar. It was also in Palm Springs. I had a FaceTime with him, but that time I like fully broke down and I was freaking out, and I was filming it because I just wanted to have all of these moments. And I just remember like breaking down because I was so scared of having another miscarriage. But the first time telling him it was pretty funny because I was so casual about it and he was like, what? But along those lines, have you thought about surrogacy? Do you want Summer to be an only child? I do not want her to be an only child, and technically she never will be an only child. You know, she does have 2 older siblings from Brock, and I hope at some point she's able to have a relationship with them. I wanted to point that out because I don't want anyone to think I'm ever negating their, existence. It's like I did a post for Brock on Father's Day, and because I didn't acknowledge them, people think I'm trying to avoid that. And I was just trying to do a post for Summer's dad, my daughter. I was never trying to ignore the fact that he has 2 other kids. So I apologize if it's ever come off that way. And, even though they aren't currently a part of our physical lives, they are present in our emotional lives. We think about them all of the time. We talk about them. I just haven't told Summer about them yet because I do think that would be confusing for a 3-year-old. So when she gets a little older, hopefully by then things change and she's able to meet them, but they never go unnoticed. I just want you all to know that. And surrogacy, yes, I know that's something I've spoken about here before, that and adoption are our only options moving forward unless I literally want to risk my life in my 40s. And I don't want to do that because that could leave Summer an only child and without a mom. So we've talked about it a lot. We need to fertilize my eggs. We talk about it all of the time, but my doctor left the company where I froze my eggs. So just figuring out if we're going to transfer them, if I'm going to get a new doctor. And it's also really expensive to do all of that in the genetic testing. So we haven't gotten there yet, but it's something I've talked to a lot of people about. And I do want to give her a sibling, but clearly I'm not totally there mentally yet. So yeah, stay tuned. I will always keep you guys updated on that journey, but I'm not there yet. I think I need 1 more year and maybe getting back on Zoloft before I make that decision, because I'm just not mentally strong enough to have another baby yet. Okay, I'm going to take another little break, and that'll be the last break, and I'll be right back. So whenever date night rolls around and I want to feel and look my best and smell my best, guess what gets me there? That's right. It's Cremo. After a stressful day, running around, taking care of errands, family, work, picking the kid up at school, I need some quality self-care, and nothing's better than a nice long shower with a Cremo body wash that smells as good as it cleanses. Lately, I have had my friends ask me, are you wearing a different perfume? And I'm like, actually, no. It's this Cremo body wash for women, and the new scents, I'm telling you, will blow your mind. They have wild iris musk, white jasmine amber, and almond bloom. And no one does luxurious shower experiences like Cremo. Cremo's body wash combines rich lathering and hydrating formulas with elegant fragrances that are going to elevate your hygiene routine. Cremo works with master perfumers to make sure that every Cremo body wash scent is meticulously blended and refined, and their hard work definitely shows. Every wash I've tried smells like a high-end perfume. You can find all the new decadent scents of Cremo women's body wash at Walgreens and CVS or cremocompany.com. Once again, that's Walgreens, CVS, or cremocompany.com. One last time, you can find Cremo at Walgreens, CVS, or cremocompany.com. Okay. And we're back. I've cleared up my eyes. Okay. Chrissy Chris Baby wants to know, dealing with separation anxiety at the moment, do you get any anxiety leaving Summer at school? I do, but I just tell myself this is what's best for her. Social skills, interaction with other kids, learning, playing. And I'm just like, this is what's best for her. And I need to do what's best for her. So that's where I'm at with that. But of course, I miss her. Like even when she naps at home, I'm like, when are you waking up? I miss you. I'm bored. Like, I mean, I guess I could just watch another episode of something, but I feel like when she's not there, there's just obviously something missing. First time mom advice for live life at its best. What a great Instagram name. I think trusting your gut is very important. Don't listen to unsolicited advice unless you ask for it. But I also did like asking for advice from other moms because when you're figuring it out for the first time, you don't always know what you're doing. So I do think, though, listening to just your mother's intuition and your gut, you're going to know what's best for your kid. But it is scary. I get it. So if you need help, ask for help. If you don't want to listen to the unsolicited advice, just say, you know what? I got this. And just have confidence in your decisions. That is something 3 and some months later I'm still working on. But I think that just goes back to how I was raised. And, my mom knew everything and my mom did everything for me. And now I'm like, okay, mom, I love you and thank you. And I appreciate you. You've raised me to be a very strong, independent person, but I got to figure it out for myself sometimes. Biggest challenge in being a mother, kind of what I just said, like having confidence in those decisions and not wanting to fuck up. It's like, I want to do everything in my power to not fuck things up, but it's not reality. And just being confident is something that I feel like now, I'm confident doing anything alone with her. And that took a while to get there, like almost 2 years before I took her to Disneyland by myself. But that was my biggest challenge, was just doing things alone. And I do still to this day keep a life vac in my car in every house, just in case. You never know. There was a time she started choking in the car and it freaked me out, but then she was fine. So there's that. How do you overcome mom guilt? I think that it is so important for your mental health to still live your life and do things that make you feel like you, because if you're the best version of yourself, you're going to be the best version of yourself for your kid. So that's how I get over it, is I'm just like, I still have to fill my cup because then I'm happy and I'm happy for my daughter. Brit.2323, how do you handle play dates when the girls fight? This is one we're still kind of trying to figure out. I feel like with Lala Stassi and I, we try to just kind of stay back and we let them figure it out on their own. But then like Hartford will run up to us and be like, Ocean did this or Summer did this. And then Summer comes up and is like, well, Hartford won't share. And then Ocean, it's like, okay, well, how about Hartford gets a turn right now? And then how about Summer gets one? And then Hartford shares with Summer and then Summer shares with Ocean. And so they figure it out, but sometimes we kind of just got to let them duke it out, and figure it out for themselves, because in the wise words of Mr. Snoop Dogg, if she never learns, then how can I teach? So trying to just take that into my life as a mom now. I can't get over that. Anyway. Any thoughts on the last 2 weeks in America? Ooh, okay, we're going to switch things up from mom to politics. It feels like we have lived through decades of American history in the last 2 weeks. Am I right? Like an assassination attempt on Trump, Biden exiting the race, and the new potential for us to have a female president in 2025. A lot has happened, a lot. And I recognize that my audience, all of you listening, you're not tuning in to hear about politics. You're likely tuning in to, escape the news cycle or whatever. But I'm happy that we've created this community here. And I feel like I do want to take a moment to acknowledge this moment. There's this newfound hope and excitement I've seen on social media amongst my female friends and followers. And I don't think we knew we needed this. I feel like it's time for women to just, fully step into our power because the future is female. The future is Summer and Ocean and Hartford. And they're all just getting to the age to be able to understand and comprehend the world around them. It's like they're developing core memories, which thanks to Inside Out, we all know what core memories are now. And Inside Out 2 is incredible if you haven't seen it. But I mean, how amazing would it be for this new generation to grow up seeing a woman literally leading the country? I mean, and look, I'm not saying you should vote for someone entirely based off their gender, obviously. But regardless of your political affiliation, your political beliefs, I just hope we can all appreciate this moment and look forward to a day when the most powerful person in the world is a woman. I think we're ready. But on another note, I was thinking about this when Kiki and I talked about it a little last week, and then I saw something on Twitter, and I'm like, I can't help but think that this week, like the cast of the Big Brother house, my sister is like diehard on this show, and we were talking about this too. It's like they're gonna emerge from this house to just a new America. They're gonna find out that Trump was shot. They don't know about this. That Kamala will be replacing Biden on the Democratic side. I mean, to be a fly on that wall when they learn all of this. I hope they film these moments. I haven't watched Big Brother recently, but I hope that when they get out of this house, they do have cameras when they fill them in on all of this, or at least they're like doing a diary recording themselves and it's posted, because what a time to be just sequestered in a house in a competition game. I can't even imagine. So I guess we'll stay tuned to that. I think they're in there till like September maybe? I don't know. But anyway, what is the culture of the Valley versus WeHo versus West Side? Pros and cons since you've lived in it all. Oh, I love the West Side. That will always just have a piece of my heart, being by the beach, close to LAX. I miss that drive. I miss the amount of money an Uber used to cost me. But you can't get as much bang for your buck on the West Side. Everything we were looking at, I mean, everything was over $3 million, and there was no pool. It needed work done. The Valley, I think, is an incredible place to raise a family. I love being able to walk to so many places still. That was one thing that I had on the West Side, and I said, I don't want to lose that if we move. WeHo, if you're single, if you want to go out all of the time, and you know what, if you have a family and you don't mind the traffic it takes to get to the highway, I loved living mid-city. There is so much to do. I hated how long it took me to get to the 101 or the 10 or the 405. It's like you're so mid-city, which is great for a lot of things. So many places to go out, so many good restaurants, but not great when you got to get out of town. Couple more questions I got at Valverde Style. Can you share an update on Jamie, your old co-host? Looks like she is off social media. So again, someone I still keep in touch with often. I haven't seen her recently, but we have talked about getting back into some shenanigans together, getting the girls together. Our schedules just haven't matched up recently, but I will have her come back on the show and she can fill you guys in on everything she's been up to, because I feel like that's better for her to tell you than me. So I'll check her schedule and we'll get into that soon. Kaylin Brown _ any general high school advice for an upcoming senior? Oh my gosh. Have the best last year of high school. Go to all the games, go to all the dances, do all of the things, have no regrets. Like, do as much as you can. I swear, high school, it was some of the best years of my life. I had so much fun. I literally did it all and no regrets. So just enjoy all of this time with your friends, because, Everyone goes off to different colleges or goes off and gets jobs, and things are going to be different once you graduate. So just enjoy all of those moments, make core memories, and go to like every football game because they're so much fun. And to wrap it up, y'all want to know, what are my thoughts on Travis Kelce's new look? I gotta say, since Brock shaved his head and did the buzz cut, I wasn't into it at first, but now I'm kind of into it. So Kelce's new look, I mean, he could pull off anything, you know. He's a very good looking person, but I kind of was digging the buzz cut more than the stash and the hair. He's kind of also looking a little more like daddy now. So yeah, he looks good either way, but kind of a fan of the buzz cut now. So Brock said it would grow on me. It's grown on me. And thank you guys so much for listening, for watching, for sending in all of your questions. You make these solo episodes so fun and easy to just talk for, I don't know, 45 minutes. But I appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week and see you then.
I've been searching
Bye.
for this all my life.